What's up, everyone? Dark Masic here, coming at you with a review of 70,000 Tons of Metal 2023. So, for those who don't know, I've been going on 70,000 Tons of Metal since 2017, so this would be my 5th cruise. First time in 3 years, fuck you, COVID, great to be back. It's a new ship this year, the Freedom of the Seas. Traditionally, it's been on the Independence of the Seas, and before my time, Majesty of the Seas. Truthfully, I couldn't tell the difference, and I think that's the best way to do this. The same shops, the same venues located on the same floors, same dining, except I think this one had 1 or 2 more options. The great thing is you can just get back into your old routine. Go from the theater to the pool deck to the Pyramid Lounge. So before we even got on board, there was a lot of chatter about this year's lineup. The bands were announced very late in the game, and there's only one actual headliner. Usually, meaning I think from 2016 or 2017, there have been 3 bands playing 75-minute sets, 12 bands or somewhere around there playing 60-minute sets, and the rest getting 45 minutes. This year, Nightwish got 90 minutes. I believe they did the last time they were on board, but that's in the old days. Creator got 75 minutes, and I think there were 12 or 13 60-minute sets. There were some rumors that Nightwish delayed announcements because of Floor Jansen's cancer diagnosis and wanting to be announced first. Who knows whether that's true? I hope they don't fall prey to that again. So, I just gotta point this out right now. I've been on 5 times and Camelot has played 3 of them. Literally every other year. I don't mind. I love Camelot, but this does seem a little redundant. I guess they're an easy booking because they live in Florida. Oh well. See you on in 2025. But I digress. Some bands I was looking forward to this year. Iron Savior, never seen them before. Fire Schwans, had never really heard of them, but a coworker of mine from Germany told me I had to go see them. More on that later. Creator, a fan of them. Just saw them open for Merciful Fate in Brooklyn, but, you know, always fun to see them again. Haven't seen Destruction in a few years. And I want to call this one out specifically, last minute booking of Dragon Force. They were announced about a week before the cruise. Hooray! Warbringer. Huge fan of them. Saw them back in 2010 and probably seen them a dozen times since then. One of the best live acts ever. Probably my favorite thrash band in terms of a live performance. Freedom Call. They were on the 2018 cruise, but I didn't notice it at the time. Like, literally, I was going through the pamphlet when I got home and thought, fuck, I missed these guys. Big fan of them. They're always so happy, so joyful. Someone got engaged during their set. It was so cool. Last but not least, Corporate Kwani. I've never been a huge fan of them, but they are so fun live. I think they were also on in 2018, and it was just a total party. So, of course, I was happy when they got announced. So, now I'll give a quick review of some of the sets I went to, some hits. There weren't really any disappointments, but the real big surprises are the ones I'll talk about a lot. Amberian Dawn. Band I'd heard the name of, hadn't listened to a ton. 3 songs in their set were ABBA covers, which made it very easy to get into. And I think this is a great band on their own. Of course, I've checked them out since then. But when you're trying to get into a band and you just see them rocking out, you can sing along with Gimme, Gimme, Gimme and Lay All Your Love on Me. That was fucking epic. Evergrey, another really good symphonic band. Had heard the name of, had never listened to, but they really impressed me live. Camelot's first set. It was cut short, unfortunately. They literally did not play Forever or Liar Liar, which, as far as I'm concerned, are songs that Camelot has to play live. I want to take a second to address what I think was perhaps an issue with this cruise. Normally, the headliners have a chance to bring their own stage setup, their own drum set, their own backdrop, or whatever. It seemed like this year they expanded that to the 60-minute bands, too. And I think that's part of what led to some delays that were otherwise unnecessary. I love you, Camelot, but you didn't need your own drum set. Creator's first set. This was on Blabbermouth that they were going to play a quote-unquote old-school set, but it was chock full of deep cuts. I'm pretty sure they didn't even play Pleasure to Kill. Certainly nothing after 1990. They played most of Awakening of the Gods, not just the intro, so I was a happy camper. Fuck yeah. Fire Schwans. I'd already brought up. I had never heard of this band, but they were so much fun. Huge party. Like I mentioned with Amberian Dawn and the ABBA covers, can you imagine a metal band doing the fucking Numa Numa song? It was so much fun! The last show I went to on day 1, I think anyway, Insomnium. Had never listened to them too much. I just know that Johnny, I pronounced that correctly, their guitar player, was Sonata Arctica's original guitarist. The dude who played on Ecliptica. So of course I gotta go. And yeah, great set. pretty memorable songs as far as melodic death metal goes. That's a genre I'm not very familiar with, but it stuck with me. Day 2 opened 10 a.m. with Freedom Call. And I don't think there's a better band to get you going because they're such a happy band. They're so much fun. It's incredibly easy to sing along to, minus the fact that he's a super tenor. Really, really fun time. I've been wanting to see them live for the last 5 years. I already brought this up, but somebody did in fact get engaged at this set, and it was really sweet. Deathless Legacy. So I got to review their latest album, Mater Larvarum, for Brutally Delicious last year, and it was one of my top albums of the year. They were really, really good live. They only had 45 minutes. I think it was their first time playing outside of Europe. I believe they said that. And wow, they just absolutely blew it away. Not just great songs, not just great musicianship, but great stagecraft. Elaine. Had never heard of this band. There's got to be a Seinfeld joke here somewhere. But their song Death Incarnate was really, really memorable. I've definitely gone back to that on Spotify in the week since then. Destruction. Here's a band I've already seen, I think, 4 times. I was skeptical because Mike Sifringer, hope I pronounced that correctly, had left, and he was their original guitar player, but they replaced him with 2 younger hotshot guitar players. Wow, that was a great decision. In the previous times I'd seen Destruction, I always thought they sounded a little thin. I mean, they only had 1 guitarist. How do you play thrash with only 1? The sound was huge this time. Like, absolutely blown away. Dragon Force, no surprise there. Guest vocalist this time, Alessio Garavello. It appears that Mark Hudson had some kind of emergency, don't want to pry, but this guy killed it. He was a fantastic vocalist, great frontman, really, really owned it. He did have to use lyric sheets. I'm not faulting him in the slightest. I mean, I think he had something like 4 or 5 days to prep for this, but he killed it. Fantastic vocalist, and he joined in on the band's biggest stunt. When they played on the pool deck, Herman and Alicia went out with guitars that protected and got in the hot tub, and he joined in on that. Like, with 4 or 5 days prep time, probably 1 rehearsal, he's jumping in on that kind of stunt. What a beast. I don't need to say that much about Nightwish, except to say that they were better than I thought they would be. I had never heard the song Storytime before, and that's really stuck with me over the last few weeks. And last one for day 2, Visions of Atlantis. I'd already seen them a few times. They were on in 2018, I think. But their new album, Pirates, just kills, and it really was great live. I lied. Warbringer was also on day 2. They killed it, as they always did, played mostly newer stuff, which is great, because I've already heard the older stuff many times. Not that I'm tired of it, but, I got to hear some new songs, some stuff from the new album. If only they would play Glorious End. Amorphous was really, really good live. That's a band I have not listened nearly enough to. They're literally band number 1 on the Metal Archives. So that should tell you something about their influence. Really, really fun. And I actually got to be in the room while Bruce from Brutally Delicious interviewed them. That was a real treat. As I'm going through the running order and looking through the shows I went to, I'd like to point out Fire Schwanz's second set is when some tragedy occurred. Somebody on board had an issue, perhaps with drugs, as said by the skipper. Other people have said alcohol and heat exhaustion, requiring us to go back into U.S. waters so this person could get to a hospital. This did unfortunately delay Fire Schwanz's second set, but they came back with a vengeance and partied like nothing ever happened. In fact, I think they actually dedicated a song to him. What a metal moment. The next band I'm going to talk about is called Empress. I believe this was their first high-profile show ever. Power metal out of Philadelphia. We don't get a lot of U.S. power metal these days. Truly impressed by their set. They were so well rehearsed, so tight. Great songs, almost like they were a very well-seasoned band. Of course, as already said, Corpaclani totally kills, one of the most fun bands ever. Pool deck set with them is a huge party. That circle pit is more like a rave or something. Gonna wrap this up with 2 more. Iron Savior, as I said, very much looking forward to them. And Skiltron. Bagpipes of War. What a great song for a band I was expecting nothing out of. Fuck yeah. So, even though there were a lot of people online not too happy with the lineup, this might have been the cruise I enjoyed the most. It's truly impressive to get this, even though there's no Twilight Force on board or Megadeth. They're too big for the cruise anyway. No Blind Guardian, no Rhapsody. I can keep going, so the bands I would normally request were not on. But the quality of the 45-minute sets that we were expecting nothing out of was second to none on all 5 cruises I've been on. There also seemed to be a really nice camaraderie on the cruise, and it's always there, but this year was particularly strong, probably because it's the first one since COVID. This cruise reportedly did not sell as well as previous ones. I think every other cruise I've been on had sold out. This one was rumored to be at 60% capacity. So this does leave the future of the cruise in doubt. The skipper confirmed there will be a 2024 cruise, so maybe they found a way to work with this. All I can say is this is the highlight of my year, and I hope it continues. Until next year, stay mellow, guys.